Hello, welcome to Cat's Got Your Tongue. This is the podcast in association with Cats Protection. My name's Adam Brown. I'm your host and I'm a self-confessed cat addict. I'm also a very proud cat dad, and my cat Ruby is basically the most important thing in my life. Don't tell my family that though. But this is the podcast where we find out more about cats owned by celebrity guests. We've got another celebrity guest on today's episode. We'll be hearing from him a bit later on. Plus your funny feline stories, and we're aiming to solve your cat dilemmas as well in our Cat's Tales. So as I mentioned, as much as I love cats, there's so much stuff I still don't know about them, which is why it's great we've got you here, Nicky.
Thank
Our
you.
cat expert from Cats Protection. I feel like this is like my sort of insurance policy. That anything that I don't know about cats, I'm like, do you want to take this one, Nicky? If one of our guests asks me something, I'm like nodding as if I know, and I'll go, yeah. I'll let you take this one, as if I would know anyway. So have you been all right? Anything new?
Yeah, great, thank you. Yeah, no, everything's really good.
You're wearing a very nice top with cats on.
Thank you, so are you.
Yeah, I know, yeah. It's like
we
coordinated,
coordinated, even though we didn't. We just...
the fact we said we didn't now makes it seem like we did, but we honestly didn't. We didn't coordinate. It's just pure chance. One thing I did see, though, is your cat Kato doing a little high five in a very... Well, I got a link to the video. I got sent a link to a video of you doing something, which was super impressive. Also, I'd love to do it myself. Explain what I'm talking about.
Is it the TED Talk?
TED Talk, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, like, this just like the coolest job in the world. Listen, I thought I had a cool job working at Radio X, and it's like, you get to do a TED Talk talking about cats.
It was really, really exciting. So it was in TEDx Cardiff, and they just do a talk on cats.
How does that come about, though? Because I always think that, do like TED Talks say, come and do it?
Yeah, so Ted invited me to do it through the Cats Protection media team. I was actually given a week's notice to be on stage.
Oh, could you come out next week? Oh, okay, yeah.
Something about cats. So I decided to do about play behaviour in cats, simply because, well, one, obviously it's super cute and really fun, and create some great visuals with Kato doing his high five. But mostly because it's something that will affect absolutely everybody. It's something that everyone can get involved with. It's really easy and it's free to do. And the most important thing is it improves cat welfare.
Yeah. So how did you find? Was it nerve-wracking?
Yeah.
Was it?
I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I thought you were going to go, nah. What was it like? Were you just like...
It was amazing. And I have to admit, it's like one of my like bucket list dreams.
Yeah.
So I was terribly excited to be invited. And it was amazing. So it was at this huge theatre, and there was like hundreds of people in the audience. And I was a little bit nervous when I went on. I did actually have a little table with like props of like different cat toys, so it was quite good to demonstrate throughout the talk. But I have to admit that as soon as it was over, and I was sort of getting to the last little bit, as I walked off stage, I literally put my hand up as if to be like, thank you, good night. You've been beautiful,
I bet
you're
waiting in the wings for like, an encore. I was like, I'll come back and do another one.
I literally felt like sort of wanting to like drop the mic and sort of like walk off like a rock star. But that was just all in my head. And I think it's just the adrenaline pumping and stuff. But yeah, it was so much fun.
Yeah, it was amazing. Do you know what? We'll try and it's worth tracking down that because it's on YouTube, isn't it?
It is, yeah. The easiest way to find it would just be put in TED Talk cats.
Yeah.
Just because there's not many cats on there for the talks.
Yeah.
And if you see a woman in a red top with a black cat who's Kato, and we start you off with a high five, then you know you're in the right place.
Yeah, honestly, it's well worth a watch. It's brilliant, and also it is very, very fascinating and really informative as well.
Thank you.
Honestly, it was brilliant. I mean, I kept thinking I'd love to do a TED Talk, but I don't know what I'd do it on. I'd never going to get asked, am I? It's a pipe dream. It's a pipe dream. Maybe one day, you never know.
Ruby?
Yeah, about my own cat. That's never... If listen, people from TED are listening and they want me to come and talk about my own cat, then I'm available. Nicky, as always, on Cat's Got Your Tongue, we're going to have an amazing celebrity guest. I'm super excited about our guest today. I feel like he might be the only person who wears more outlandish shirts than me.
I think you're right.
So I'm going to see. I'm really intrigued to see what he's wearing, and also to find out more about his cat. Of course, Nicky's on hand to answer any questions that you might have yourself. So if you are listening to this podcast thinking, I've got a question about my cat, which I'd love to find out the answer to, you can find out the answer potentially by giving us a shout, pod@cats.org.uk, or now you can send us a text, or even better, a voice note on WhatsApp. If you do want to do that, 07824 551 076. We want your funny stories about your cats, any dilemmas that your cats might have presented to you, and of course, any questions that you might have about your cat. They will be popping up on our section later on the podcast called Cat's Tales. We're going through those later on, but first of all, let's get our very special guest in today. He was a very, very flamboyant man. I cannot wait to find out more about him and, more importantly, his cat. So let's get him in. So if you've not heard the show before, each week on Cat's Got Your Tongue, we're joined by a celebrity guest or, a self-confessed cat lover who are in love with cats just as much as I am today. I'm absolutely delighted to welcome onto the podcast interior designer and TV legend, Mr. Laurence Llewellyn-Bowen. How are you, Laurence?
Thank you very much indeed. I would love being described as a legend.
Yeah.
Feel fundamentally mythical. Better than being described as a leg end.
Yeah, I hate that. I hate that term.
But there we are. Well, thank you very much for welcoming me into your lovely, cuddly, cozy litter tray. As a newly arrived tomcat, I'm frantically spraying.
Well, do you know what? It's so good to have you on, and basically, it's me and Nicky always describe this as a bit of a safe space for cat lovers, just to kind of share their appreciation of cats, and it's just a chance for us to have a bit of a chit chat about the whole world of cats, and kind of get a bit of an understanding about your journey with cats and a little bit about your love for them. I mean, is it fair to say you're a cat lover, Laurence?
As much as I love anything, yes, cats are a jolly decent kind of second choice because dragons don't exist. But no, I mean I do. I think the thing about cats, which they're hilarious. But with that, all of that makes them obsessively wonderful.
So let's start by kind of establishing a little bit about your cat, Laurence. Tell us about your cat name, how long you've had them for, what does he look like? Just give us a bit of
we had growing up with daughters, we've always, there's always been a cat somewhere in the mix. We had, when we first moved to the Cotswolds, we actually ended up with an enormous quantity of kind of barn cats. And the current incumbent is very, very ginger, but irritatingly not quite orange enough. I was doing a shoot for The Guardian in my bedroom, which is all orange, and he was a bit clashy, so we had to change him in post. We had to ramp up the gingerness of him. But he is absolutely such a sort of an English cat. He looks so Anglo-Saxon. He looks like he's the sort of cat that should be driving a white van and getting very excited when England play football matches. So for some reason he was called Higgins the kitten. Latterly, thanks to Ted Lasso, he's now developed Les Higgins as a way of giving him. But he became a very quick part of our life. And the thing about Higgins was that he had the most enormous testicles. Real orange furry clackers. You're both far too young to remember what clackers were, but they were these sort of balls that used to hit together. And the vet even said when he saw Higgins's gonads, "Oh my God, those are enormous!" And the vet was quite concerned about the fact that Higgins couldn't actually lick his own bottom, which is such a so much information. But of course, that's what cats do. And there's a moment there's somewhere in the vaults of ITV this morning. There's a moment where I was about to go. I was giving it was during lockdown, and I was giving kind of Zoom advice to the viewers of this morning. And Higgins jumped onto my lap, and then Higgins jumped onto my shoulder and wiggled his large ginger furry testicles right at the camera. And it caused such amusement from Holly and Phil, because it was back in the Holly and Phil days. Subsequently, I have to share with the world that Higgins is no longer a proud possessor of enormous testicles. We felt that we'd do the neighborhood a bit of a favor. But he's great. He's I find in many ways I think this is probably the cat that I'm the most fond of. He has such a sort of a devil may care attitude. I think that's the thing about cats. They have such strong personalities. Dogs, lovely, and we have plenty of those, but they are fundamentally, basic pleasure models compared to cats, who are so devious, so crooked, so complicated, so quick to steal things, so quick to muck up your life and scratch your incredibly posh William Morris upholstered chairs.
So, with Higgins being a barn cat, how much time does he spend inside? Is it
Oh, the whole time. I mean, for goodness sake, being a former barn cat, you're not going to go outside ever again, are you? Unless you're going to go to another house to be fed. This is the whole point about Higgins the barn cat is he's been very much, elevated to the corps de ballet. Amongst all our swanky spaniels, this cat is absolutely the ginger emperor of all he surveys.
And what's your relationship like with the cat? Are you like?
Well, obviously pure worship. I mean, there's no other way of getting on with a cat, is there? I think we're getting there with Higgins. This is what I'm quite enjoying because he, particularly after the last very snooty Bengal experience, Higgins he gives the impression of actually being reasonably happy with being with us, which I think is something that no cat has done before.
Obviously, you're a man with refined taste. How do you get on with your cat around the house in terms of, furniture and that kind of thing? Has been
not only does Higgins clash with more or less everything. He also has an absolute, he's like a heat-seeking missile of destruction. He'll only go for the expensive stuff. He will never ever, go for anything very ordinary. He'll, anything kind of, if it's covered in one of my fabrics, which means it's easily replaceable, he's not interested. But the minute it's kind of hand embroidered May Morris, he's up there with his claws like Billy-O.
So obviously, we spoke about this in the podcast before, Nicky, when it comes to sort of, one of the words is like catification of your house. So making it as enriching as it can be for a cat. How does that align with you as an interior designer, Laurence? Because is there a way that you can make things kind of that are enriching for Higgins look stylish?
You put a cat in the middle of Blenheim Palace, it's going to make it its own territory. The difficulty with sharing your world with a cat, I think, is making sure that you've got a little bit of space left for you, not the cat. I mean, we have occasionally kind of, flirted with the idea of, a cat scratching post or a this or a that. No cat goes near it. But I think the thing is, and I think this is one of the points, is that, actually, it's not a question of making your world cat friendly. It's about just accepting the entropy that cats bring with it. It's accepting the fact that a cat will stonewash your interiors. Like if you put half a brick in your dryer with your jeans, but then so do children, so do dogs, so does anything that you love in your life. It's going to leave a miasma. It's going to leave a thin layer of degradation and destruction in your perfectly contrived interiors. This is why minimalism is officially dead. But then it's like, it's love, isn't it? And actually, the things the cracks that they make, the holes that they make, the felt tip pen all over the wallpaper that they leave, all of that kind of stuff. These are illustrations of their existence, and as such, they are beautiful things. They are beautiful, beautiful things that are absolutely inherently crushed and wrong and broken about the interior. And I always think it's like kintsugi, with the Japanese thing where they put the gold.
Yeah. I know what you mean.
In the crack, so you've got a broken bowl, and you repair it with gold because actually philosophically the thing that's wrong is the thing that's perfect. I'd rather have Higgins and screwed up chairs than no Higgins and perfect chairs. So you see, I think that's the thing, is that philosophically that's absolutely where you've got to get to with cats, because cats, if you hit that point of acceptance with cats, then you and your cat you're going to get on very well. You're going to be fine. I
just want to pick up on something you mentioned there, Laurence, with like scratch posts.
Yeah.
Because I've had real mixed success with. I feel like there's no kind of reasoning behind when my cat uses it and when she doesn't. Like now and again, I'll just hear a little noise. Does it come to a stage where the cat's like, right, I need to use it now?
I think for Laurence, he probably needs a William Morris scratch post to go in his
house. But maybe,
yeah.
What I need is something that's going to cost about £10,000,
exactly.
And then we'll scratch it.
That's perfect.
And then you need to ignore it and always be like, oh, please don't. And then
exactly.
Brilliant.
Don't touch that.
Yeah. But in general, one, it's not about physically encouraging, because we get a lot of people that are like, oh, I'm just going to get their paws and scratch the post, and the cat's like, oh, that's weird, please get off. Instead, it's about having the right post. Unfortunately, a lot of the commercial posts are not suitable for cats, so they need to be tall enough, and that needs to be at least 60 centimeters if not more than that, for the average moggy. Obviously, like the larger pedigrees are going to need a taller post. My cat's a large moggy and he's got a 63 centimetre post. It needs to be sturdy. That's where a lot of them fall down because they wobble.
Yeah.
And because cats, like, they go on their tiptoes, but then they lean their body weight into it. So they need something that's not going to move, which is why divan beds and sofas and...
Oh, this is absolutely... Because, of course, the ultimate scratching post for a cat is a set of very, very tall, very expensive velvet curtains. Cats are...
Have you ever dabbled with a bit of cat fashion? Have you ever had any like shirts with the cat print on, or?
Yeah, no. I mean, I would much rather be more likely to wear something with a cat on it than a dog on it. That's for sure. We live in the Cotswolds, so there's a lot of people wandering around with stuff with dogs on it, as you can imagine. I'm a proud owner of a spaniel or a beagle.
Yeah.
But actually, I always think, I'd much rather. I mean, based on the fact that I don't have a crocodile, because obviously that would be top of the list. But second would be a cat.
So on your Instagram, I've seen some of your artwork as well, Laurence. There's a painting, I think it was the title, A Pair of Elderly Lions Having Fun Under the Full Moon in Venice.
Yeah, well, basically, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like mean, isn't it?
Yeah. Is that like inspired by cats a little bit as well?
Yeah, no. I mean, in fact, I join you. I've just come down from my studio where I'm doing the new painting has got a large tiger in it. But again, it's about big cats wandering around a deserted Venice under a full moon, which I don't know why. I mean, it just sort of something that occurred to me that but I mean, certainly with the two elderly lions, it's very autobiographical. My wife is very lionessy. We were in Egypt, and she is literally the reincarnation of Sekhmet, goddess of war. So she's definitely a big cat. People often think I'm quite leonine. I don't think so at all. They're just sucked in by the hair, but the hair has nothing to do with me. It's entirely my hairdresser. So I take no responsibility. But you're obviously quite often, I would imagine, quite often mistaken for some large cat.
Yeah, I think you look quite cat-like, I think, as well. Yeah, definitely. I think
I don't know. I think at 60, I'm looking like a kind of, rather sad old dog.
No, I reckon you're way more of a cat-looking.
Do you?
Kind of yeah. Do you not think, Nicky?
Yeah, I think Cats the musical need you both in it.
Yeah,
and
I reckon.
Me, obviously, I want to be in it too.
Yeah. As cat owners, cat lovers, we do tend to kind of, spoil our cats a little bit. I'm the world's worst for it. You're quite bad for it.
Spoil?
Yeah.
That's not the word for it.
Yeah, I think you're a bit of a softie with your cat on the quiet, Laurence.
Oh my God, of course. He's got me so well trained. So it's like everything else in my life has got me so well trained. From my wife to my grandchildren to, everything knows exactly how to make me work.
So little scenario, say it's Higgins' birthday. Do you do something special on his birthday in terms of presents, maybe a special little meal, that kind of thing? Because I do for my cat on a birthday. I've got to go all in.
Okay, I'm trying to arrange my face into something that would be acceptable. I don't know when Higgins' birthday is. But having said that, the grandchildren do, and the grandchildren were trying to have a little party for Higgins and stuff like that. Thing is,
why are you being tight and not letting them do it?
No, but the thing is with a cat, a cat. Every day is a cat's birthday.
I know what you mean, but...
Because the cat does absolutely everything it wants. It gets everything it wants. It gets, there's nothing to do. It's so, actually, it is literally the most spoiled creature in the world. So the thing to do on a cat's birthday is give it nothing. Just, for one day in a year, just to remember the fact that how lovely and how indulged it is.
So do you not do anything to spoil it? Just go the extra mile, maybe now and again. Is there like a special treat that he loves? I know you said he loves like expensive, premium cat food.
You talk to my wife, and there's nothing. I mean, she'll she's now taken to sort of driving into other counties to find this particular sort of ridiculously expensive cat food, which is the only thing that Higgins will eat. But of course, amusingly, when Jackie's not around, she's in the house in Cornwall or whatever, and it's just me. I'm just giving him whatever I can find in the corner shop, and he's perfectly happy with that. But if there's nothing else in the bowl, and he can't bring down, there's no voles he can have or mice or whatever. He brought a stoat in the other day. I mean, my God, who catches a stoat?
They're quite big, aren't they?
They are massive, and they're really, really grumpy as well. Luckily, this guttled away, but oh my God, it was just like, oh. And then there were the moles. He's very good at moles, and of course, moles are completely black apart from their pink feet. And the former bedroom incarnation, we have now moved on. You'll be pleased to know, had a black carpet. So you just had no idea. First thing in the morning, you'd think, I've trodden in something, haven't I? What is that?
My
It was a
God.
dead mole with its little pink paws up like that.
Well, what's the psyche behind that, Nicky? Because obviously, a lot of cat owners think it's presents or gifts or whatever. Is there actually a bit of science behind it?
So this one's always a bit difficult, simply because people seem to tolerate hunting a little bit more if they think it's a present. However, the current thinking scientifically is that cats are bringing prey back to the core territory, which generally involves the house, and that's just a safe place to bring back their prey. They don't tend to necessarily eat it. Some will, some won't, but it varies. But also, the hunting drive is not linked to hunger, so that's why their innate behaviours. They're wired to hunt even when they're not hungry, because in the wild they wouldn't necessarily know whether they're going to be successful. It's about 1 in 4 for success in the wild. You're
completely right. I mean, it is the idea we sort of humanize. But I think the thing is, what I find highly amusing is the way that people. It almost becomes quite patronizing. You actually don't understand how incredibly clever and subtle and really, really very, very individualistic cats are. You're forever kind of look at, oh, that's cute, they bring me a present. No, they're not. It's no accident that Bond villains have cats on their lap. They don't have dogs, do they? They don't have a cute dachshund. They always have a cat, and actually the cat is the Bond villain. The bloke behind with the bald head and the kind of wonky eye and the navy jacket, he's a puppet. It's the cat that's actually genuinely pulling the strings.
I just love the idea that, in films like that, the Bond villain, when the cameras are off, really, he's just a softy with his cat, isn't he?
Yeah.
Go and sit on my knee, come on.
And the cat's chirping away like...
Yeah. You don't see that part of it in the film, though, do you?
No, like I said, the cat is actually controlling the man. It's it's got like a remote control hidden under its paws.
Just the idea of like a Bond villain opening like a bag of Dreamies or something.
Come on. Yeah.
So you're not an evil mastermind now when you got the Dreamies out, mate. So one thing we do on this podcast quite regularly, Laurence, we kind of delve into the dynamic between the cat and the owner. Everyone has a voice they use with the cat. Do you have has Higgins got a voice that you use when you talk to him?
Just pure submission, really. No, and
just a plea. Just please don't destroy anything else.
Please. No, I mean, I don't really talk to the cat. Talk to Higgins much, actually. I have to say, because he's either there or he's not. The granddaughters are really sweet. They're obsessed by him, and he's obsessed by them as well. Because we've also, we've got Eleonora now. She's only 6 months. I didn't realize that cats had this big kind of addiction for nursing mothers. They get very, very overexcited apparently by hormones and stuff like that. And so he goes out of his way whenever the little babies are around and, one of my nursing daughters is around. And it's like he blisses out, which is incredibly sweet. And the little girls, they're sort of, 3, 2, 1, whatever. He is such a sort of a big, fat, gingery, gentle giant with them. And they absolutely love him and they get very, very excited. And Jackie has this thing for some reason. She calls him Higwa.
I love that.
They all call him Gwa, Gwa. So they're running around the garden going Gwa, 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 like geese. And he'll kind of amble out of a bush, me? Are you calling me? With some kind of dead thing in his jaws. And the little girls can't start screaming, oh, what's that? It's got a dead mouse.
That's quite interesting about what Laurence is saying there about Higgins, being around different people and the dynamics. Because I've got like a friend and his wife, and his wife's pregnant at the minute, and they've got a cat, and he's kind of worried about how the cat's going to be when the baby arrives and that kind of thing. He's like, oh, how's it going to react? Is it going to be jealous? And obviously with dogs, sometimes you see that. And I don't imagine there's probably not one kind of hard and fast rule with it, Nicky, but can you do like a slow introductions, or how does it work?
So just have to address jealousy first of all, because that's the one hard and fast rule we can say currently. Yeah. Obviously, if science changes, I'll happily come back on and be like, oh, actually they can. But currently, cats aren't jealous.
Oh, okay.
No, It's not about that. It's about the fact they like their routines, they like their territory, they like everything to stay the same. And of course, babies come along and they literally change your world entirely, particularly in terms of scent and smell and unpredictability.
Or maybe even times to get fed and things like that.
Literally everything.
But certainly with Higgins, it's really weird. When one of the babies cries, he goes rushing towards them. He's very overexcited about it. So, there we are.
Well, see, my cat used to do that, but simply because I trained him in advance. So,
you're so in charge.
So one of the things I say to people is, tell the cat that you're pregnant. And I don't mean literally talk to them. I mean,
for a second, I
saw your face, Adam.
Yeah, I feel so stupid. I thought you were having a sit down chat with your cat then and go, just to confirm, in a few months' time, there will be a baby in the house.
So no, people do that. It doesn't work for the cat. So, so what I mean by that is, picture how if you can, picture how life's going to be. We have leaflets on this at Cat Protection. So, introducing them to the sounds. If shutting where the nursery room is going to be away, so they're reducing the access. Very slowly changing the routines over, so having a bit less lap time because things might change there. And so with the calls, for example, I've managed to find newborn baby crying. We have got sounds on our website, by the way. And you play it super, super quietly just for a few seconds, and then you pair it with a high value treat. And so they learn that noise means treats, and it's a positive association. And that's what you're trying to do. And it worked beautifully for my cat. So as soon as the baby cried, he literally would come running and be like, oh, treats.
That's brilliant. Yeah.
And it worked.
Also because, the joy with the difference between cats and dogs is that, dogs are not really the same kind of part of your world. Well, most dogs aren't. They're not on your lap in the first place. So actually, cats.
You say that. There's a lot of people.
Yeah, I know. I can imagine what I've just opened up there. Cats again, this is what I love about a cat. It's kind of like an alliance. It's like an association. Our dogs are so elderly; they need to be taken around the garden now before they go to bed. To be fair, it is a reasonably big garden, but nonetheless, I always find that a bit irritating that I've got to sort of, but the cat is hilarious. So the cat comes too, but in a really stalky way, this kind of like, going under leaves and then jumping out. And, it's very, very, that to me is the greatness of having a Higgins in your world, because the Higgins is walking along beside you. You're not having to do that whole kind of needy thing with, have you got, go on then, have you performed? And you find yourself talking to the dog like it's an elderly relative. But with the cat, it's like, yeah, whatever, get on with your world, do what you need. Pull where you want to pull, my friend.
Right, Laurence, we're just going to take a pause for a moment here. You are going to stay with us because, yeah, exactly. Because next on Catch Got Your Tongue, myself, Nicky, and Laurence are going to be going through your cat's tales, your cat dilemmas, your cat stories, and any questions you might have about the world of cats. So that's on the way next. Okay, now it's time for your cat's tales. This is where we get to hear from you. So this can be anything, from cat dramas or maybe something special that you do for your cat. Like we mentioned about maybe making a little birthday present for your cat like I do every single year without fail. Or any other cat questions, cat dilemmas, anything from the world of cats, we're here to help. So, Laurence, do you have any sort of cat-related stories or questions that you might have had about cats or just...
I was just wondering, if you make your cat a birthday cake, what does your cat do for you on your birthday?
She provides me just be an endless companion and just give me complete love. And by that I mean... ignore me.
This is exactly
it's true, but I'm not in it for the. But I'm not in it for the.
This is so wonderful.
Yeah, I don't know. She exists. That sounds really cheesy.
Nobody died. This is exactly it. It's it's no accident that the ancient Egyptians worshipped cats. Because there's something so. If cats are aliens, I would not be surprised. I don't think anybody would. If cats had actually evolved from something completely different, no one would be surprised because a cat in a room is kind of all you need. And actually, you don't even need the cat on your lap half the time. Cats are very good at doing catness, which means that they can just sort of be there exuding catitity. And, you kind of feel contentment.
That is exactly right. Honestly, Laurence, that is probably the best way I've heard it described, to be honest. That is, don't have to be even sat on my knee. It's kind of hard to describe to people who haven't got a cat sometimes, and they say, but what does a cat do? And that, just being in the room...
just like a dog, you've got to throw a ball for it. A dog will bark. A dog will do this. A cat will literally just sit on a windowsill, and that's what a cat does,
Yeah.
and then disappear for 6 hours, just enough so you're a little bit worried. It's just enough to say, "Oh, I haven't seen him for a while. Has anyone seen the cat?" And then, and start a little, not like a major search. So you're not quite massive search party. You're not calling out the entire village, but just, anyone, have you seen the cat? Haven't seen the cat? Anyone seen it? And then suddenly the cat's there, just as you got to that point where you're like, should you be in any way taking the cat for granted, the cat will go and watch you look for it. Literally.
Yeah. But it's always perfectly timed as well, to the extent where so when they do come back, there is the excitement of like, I've missed you so
there
much.
You are. And they've always got that kind of question mark tail. It's just like, me? You're looking for me? Oh, well, that's very touching. But I was off. I had so much to do. I mean, it is just the funniest thing. But I mean, they are. I mean, I don't know what it is. I mean, maybe, again, I think it'd be fascinating. Maybe there is a deep science thing. But they're about this kind of sense of contentment that you just suddenly get. And it's such a wonderful kind of moment of simple abundance. It doesn't need to be complicated. You don't need to be rich or poor. You don't need to be in any kind of particular space. You don't need to be on holiday. You don't need to be in it. You could literally just be sitting, having a cup of tea, and you see a cat caught in a sunbeam, on the carpet under the radiator, and you go, "Oh my God, isn't life wonderful? What is that?"
Time spent with cat is never wasted.
I know.
It is absolutely true. I mean, I wonder whether it has something to do with this kind of philosophical acceptance of, sharing your world with another entity, but without the kind of codependence that you get with a family or with other kind of things. That actually there is something so beautifully, allied to it. Cats are like consorts. They're not, they're not lovers. They're not, they're not partners ever. They just are there and they go. Because you can actually have an incredible relationship with a cat and never feed it. Literally, it doesn't even need to be that, need to have that kind of, that sense of, I do that for you, therefore you love me. Because actually, there are plenty of cats that we all bump into in our worlds where, you just pass them on the corner of the street and you just give it a little tickle under the, chin or whatever, and that you've got a deep relationship with that cat. Goodness knows how that cat feels about you. I mean, we're probably better not to ask that question. Luckily cats can't talk. The minute someone invents a brain machine which actually gives us an ability to read a cat's thoughts, that's when it will all go horribly wrong. Because the cat is almost certainly saying the most ghastly things about us.
Probably is, yeah. And they're going, I'm definitely going to make you an extra special present. Yeah, I know. I think it's weird. I have like where I live, like around the houses near me, there's so many cats that I know and I've got like a friendship with almost, because if I'm driving round and I see the cat, I'll pull over and that's 20 minutes just wasted. Not wasted, but and I'll just spend 20 minutes with a cat that's not mine.
But sometimes that relationship isn't even, it's not even physical. Sometimes you don't even consummate that relationship. Sometimes you never meet that cat, but you're just looking out of the window thinking, oh, there's that little tortoise shell again, or there's that puppy or whatever. And again, it's part of your world. It's a kind of a world-defining moment. We define our existence based on the cats we see in a way that we simply don't do with anything else. I mean, it is a really, really weird one, but a very beautiful one. I hate it when we don't have a cat. I mean, I really, we went through a couple of years where, it was all, we're not going to have another cat. And, there we are.
We've got a couple of questions from listeners. Now, this is a bit of a common theme that does tend to crop up quite a lot on the podcast. We've had a message from Penelope who says Penelope's got a bit of an issue with her cat, that her cat's taken to weeing in the bath.
Yep.
And she thinks she's becoming too scared to use the cat flap at night because there's some foxes around where they live. So how can she encourage a cat not to do it? She wants obviously to go and do it outside. She wants him to do it outside. Don't want a litter tray inside, but obviously if he gets too stressed, then she will have a litter tray. But how can she change that behaviour?
So the first thing to talk about is why the cat's toileting in the bath, and also just to unpick some of the common misconceptions around it. So everyone thinks it's like spiteful or trying to get back at them. I'm sure Laurence probably thinks that as well.
If my cat was weeing in the bath, I would say, gosh, how convenient. Well done you.
Well, to be honest, you're right there, because actually it's better than like you said, the expensive upholstery or anything like that.
Absolutely.
Expensive
But
carpets.
yeah, exactly. So first and foremost, get a vet check to rule out any medical reasons, because it could be something like cystitis. And then if there's nothing medically wrong with them, then some of the reasons cats go in bath is because it's private, it's always clean, and it's got these high sides that give them that sort of extra bit of protection as well. It's not great because it is slippy, but like I say, so it's about replicating some of those features by having it clean and having the high sides, but just in maybe like a litter tray. So yes, bad news is she is probably going to need a litter tray, particularly if the cat is feeling anxious. And if there are foxes outside, the cat might be not so sure about it.
You see, the thing is, I very well done to that cat. Whoever that cat is, I think marvelous. As you say, you're going to have to get a bath-shaped litter tray. So why not just fill the bath full of litter?
And hand it over.
Stay inside, for goodness sake. Cats are so smart. Oh my goodness.
So yeah, the cat should be absolutely fine to take to a new litter tray. It's just making sure it's got the features that it needs, that it's cleaned out several times a day, that it hasn't got any particular smells with the litter or no odorizers added, anything like that. This litter depth needs to be at least 3 centimeters or so that it's nice and deep for them to dig. And then it needs to be placed somewhere private but accessible. People get
and
that.
Put a rubber duck in it, obviously. Then the cat will go, oh yeah, that's another bath.
And then be like, yeah, I'm fine with this. So and that can make a big difference. Also, if there are foxes outside that the cat's concerned about, and it's probably just more like a scent thing, to be honest, for the cats. They don't generally pose an actual harm or a threat, but they may wish to cover up if they've got any like glass patio doors, for example, just covering that up at cat height, not the whole thing, with like an opaque film, just to block the view out at night. And that can help bring the cat stress levels down.
So we've got another cat's tale from Julie, who says, I understand that elderly cats can lose the sense of smell, which puts them off eating. It's been suggested to warm the food to increase the smell and therefore encourage the eating of the food. But does that mean that you can safely warm ordinary cat food from pouches? Because she actually goes on to say that a cat's on the Royal Canin gastrointestinal food and fresh chicken. Oh, very posh. Sounds like your cat's that, Laurence.
Oh my God.
Very, very posh. Is it just the chicken that she can warm, or can she warm stuff from pouches as well?
So you can.
I've never heard of that before, by the way.
Yeah, no, it does really increase the sense of smell, for the cat. So it does, and also it's just the palatability of it being warm as well. You think about the mice; they're going to be quite warm when they have mice.
Oh God, yeah.
Sorry, just bring it back to the wild. So the main thing is not to heat it up in the pouch, because a lot of the pouches have got aluminium or different types of metals, and that will not work in the microwave.
But how hot? Because
not hot at all.
Yeah,
literally just lukewarm, and you need to be testing it first with when I was in vet practice, we used to test it with our fingers, and also you give it a good mix as well, because sometimes the heat's not evenly distributed across the food, so you want to mix it in and then test it and then leave it a little bit and then hand it over to the cat. But start off doing it for like literally a couple of seconds, because it's amazing how quick a microwave can heat up a bit of cat food.
I hope your cat's not in earshot, Laurence, because he's going to be like,
I'm getting, I think this is exactly, isn't it? Cats actually have some, I don't know, they obviously communicate with each other and say, oh, guess what I've got mine to start doing. Amazing.
It's like toddlers.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah. You're absolutely right. Has anyone ever done a study about the fact that toddlers and cats are as annoying as each other?
We've got another tale from Emma as well, which is actually quite an interesting question. Now, Emma says that her family recently rescued an 8-year-old cat, and they renamed the cat Dude. Very cool name. He'd been rehomed with a neighbour, but decided that he was determined to live with us instead, so the neighbours let them keep him. Now, they say they've always just taken in stray cats who have chosen them, which I think a lot of people have been in that scenario before. Now, he's highly intelligent. The one problem that they have with him is he's become very adept at opening doors, which, of course, Emma says it's fine during the day. Yeah, fine during the day, but not so good at night when he wakes everyone up, because he's quite vocal as well. Is there some way that we can train him not to do it? They let him outside during the day, and then they play with him a lot at night, so he gets plenty of exercise, and they think that maybe he might have slept with his a lot when he was with his previous owners, and that's why he wants to get into the bedrooms. Loves company. Both the parents are retired, so with him for most of the day, but they don't want him in the bedroom. Any advice would be really appreciated. So it's a bit of a multifaceted question there as well. So I suppose the first thing to address would be the opening the doors at night.
So I've had this a few times, and they literally just need to change the handles over to knobs because cats can't work knobs.
They've got no thumbs.
Exactly, no opposable thumbs. So
you found a way of
a cat can literally jump up on him. And what's hilarious is also you've got a whole other group of people that deliberately go out of their way to train cats to open doors and let themselves in and out and do all sorts of fun things like that. And also you can train a cat to press a doorbell. You need it lower down for them to press it. But anyway, knobs on those. And the same, we had it with taps as well. So you had to change to the sort of knobs type style compared to the lever type one.
Yeah.
Because someone had their cat just empty their water tank. Yeah. I would love to explore a bit more about why you don't want the cat in the bedroom, just because I know everyone.
Some people are quite funny about it.
Yeah, and I appreciate like that, but I would just be like, are you sure? Just in case they were like, they had some misconceptions or.
Well, no, exactly. And actually, why not just
it might make their life easier, just letting the cat in.
Exactly. And get the cat a bed in the bedroom.
Like a nice little ottoman at the end of the bed with like a cat bed on it. Or even like there's I've seen them on the bedside cabinet is another one. And they have their own little sort of box with a little fleecy thing inside. Yeah. And that's enough that then
and there's those sort of things you can get that hang off radiators as well.
Oh yeah, they're fantastic. Yeah, they're really good. So lots of different options, and they're still not in the bed.
We having Higgins on the bed, know it. He's kind of like the Grant Mitchell of cats, and he really, he looked right. And the funny thing is as well, he's got a tiny little voice, just like.
So does my cat. He's a big cat with a small voice.
It's hilarious,
and it's really high pitched.
Yeah, exactly.
I know. I like to think like when he's outside, like in the neighbourhood, because he's a bit of a brute, that he's got this really like deep, gravelly voice, and then he comes in the house and he goes.
No, I think he does that thing. They're obviously an egg that's split out.
Exactly. Blue? So mine's a black cat, but you can still get a black cat and a ginger cat in the same litter because they can have different. Yeah.
But I think what they probably do is they do that very menacing whispering thing.
Oh yeah.
Yes, just very much like Grant Mitchell.
Yeah.
Whisper, whisper, whisper. But actually, when someone sneaks up behind them and goes, they go.
The mask drops very suddenly. So that's all our cat's tales. Are you working on anything new at the minute, Laurence, that you want to tell us about?
Cat-based.
Don't have to be cat-based, but if it's cat-based, then all the better.
Inspired. I mean, having felt the cat love coming from you two, you need to be reflecting the cat love in our new collection of fabrics and carpets.
Oh, that'd be amazing! Yes,
so good.
Well, let's do that.
We're so excited.
Honestly.
And also, I think all of our listeners and stuff would be excited.
Yeah. People, honestly, there's such a big demand for it.
We're surrounded in the Cotswold by these sort of, a certain sort of middle-aged woman that loves to tell everyone she's got a spaniel in her shopper and her headscarf and everything. Why don't we do that with cats? Cats are so much more interesting, for goodness sake.
Laurence, one more thing as well before we let you go. This isn't really cat related, but I work at Radio X, so that's obviously one of the big bands that we play a lot is Foo Fighters.
Yeah.
People often mistake you for Dave Grohl. Am I right?
Well, no, but I mean far more complicated. People often mistake Dave Grohl for me, which I think is awful. Because I mean, there he is, sort of waiting for a bus or someone, and people go up to him and ask him about interior design. He's not going to have a first painter's clue, is he?
That's brilliant.
He's from Canada or somewhere. He's not going to know about carpets.
Someone's just getting wallpaper samples out. What do you reckon?
Yeah, no, exactly. No, it was funny because we are aware of each other. Put it that. I've never met him, but he's meant to be very nice.
That's brilliant.
But he didn't do Glastonbury one year, did he? He sort of broke his leg or something, I think.
Yeah.
And I went on Twitter and suggested that I take over and rather than doing all that kind of Foo Fighters rock and roll, I just give a lovely chat about feature walls and how you wallpaper and all that. And literally, I have never got so much hate off social media before in my life. As if, oh my God, has no one got a sense of humour?
Yeah, I reckon some sort of collaboration in the future would be a must. I'd love to see that.
I'd like to see.
Well, I do.
Yeah.
how that's going to actually work. And maybe we could throw a cat in there as well. Just
Yeah. Oh, that'd be
and
amazing.
Radio X could have the exclusive.
Cat-based lyrics as well.
Yeah. Maybe he could write a song
Have you
about
ever
cats.
asked him whether he's into cats?
No, do you know what? If I get a chance to interview him, that'll be my first question. Generally, is my first question. If I interview anyone in a band, I'm like, cats. They're like, and then I'll lose interest if they're not interested in cats.
It's like one of those never meet your heroes, because you're going to ask him that and find out that he's highly allergic.
Yeah.
And that there's an end to your very beautiful friendship.
So you just see my eyes glaze over if he says that and be like,
I know
okay.
exactly. He's like, oh no, I'm allergic to cats. It's a very good impression of him, though.
It's like he's actually here.
Yeah, I know, right? He's got quite a squeaky voice, isn't he? In real life.
Yeah.
There we are.
There you go. Well, Laurence, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on Cat's Got Your Tongue today. Thanks so much.
I have enjoyed myself so much with your cat banter. I never realised quite how much of a cat fan I am.
Yeah. Oh, that's brilliant. I'm glad we've shone some light on that for you. And hopefully, long may the lovely relationship between you and the master manipulator Higgins continue.
Les Higgins. Oh, yeah. He pulls all the strings. He so does.
That's it this week on Cat's Got Your Tongue in association with Cats Protection. Again, thank you to Laurence Llewellyn-Bowen for joining us today. Thanks, Nicky.
Hi, thanks.
And remember to hit subscribe so you never miss an episode. If you've got friends or family members who love cats, tell them about us. Share the podcast. Give us a review as well. And if you want to get in touch and share your own cat's tales, don't forget, you can do. Give us a shout, pod@cats.org.uk, or you can send us a text or a voice note on our WhatsApp, which is 07824 551 076. We'll see you next time on Cat's Got Your Tongue. So, have you ever wondered why your cat doesn't want to drink their water? Or maybe you've got a moggy who treats your sofa like a scratching post. Or you've got a cat who's hiding, or they've gone off their food. Well, Cats Protection cat behaviour videos could help. You can sign up to weekly emails with advice from Cat's Got Your Tongue cat behaviour expert Nicky. And you can find the sign-up link in the show notes.